So here we are with Google AI Studio, which is one of the most challenging tests for BookBench to assess its ability to write an entire book. Why? Because Google AI is actually a developer's hub where we get a preview of the new Gemini models. And in this case, we have Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is already in production, and the new Google image models have just been released. But what matters to us is that here we have a series of parameters that we can change, set, or at least view. Here, for example, you can see we have the token count, which tells us and confirms that Gemini has over 1 million tokens. One of the very few artificial intelligences to have this number of tokens, which is fundamental and extremely useful for writing books. And the great thing is that we'll have the token count in real time as we go along. This can be very useful for training purposes, but above all, it's to understand how much context it can keep in memory. So are you ready for the challenge, ready to compete, to be tested with the BookBench? What is the BookBench? It's an index that measures how effective an artificial intelligence is at writing a book. And it does this through 10 parameters such as the title, the summary, the style, the content, the length, readability, the humanity of the text, the ability to write an entire chapter, the ability to write an entire book, and the token context, that is the internal input and output memory of an artificial intelligence. So just a few tests, 10 agents that measure the entire capability and give a final result that ranges from 1 to 100. At the moment, no one has ever reached 100 yet. So let's start with the first prompt. Let's run it and send it to Gemini 2.5 Pro. So the first prompt uses the Bruno method, where we introduce ourselves, clarify the context, assign a role to the artificial intelligence, and ask it for ideas for the title and subtitle. Let's read them together. Biography. My name is Giacomo Bruno. I am a publisher with expertise in marketing and personal branding. Reality. I want to write a book to help entrepreneurs and professionals write a book to become authoritative. Uniqueness. You are an expert in books and in my field. Naturalness. Use simple language and address the reader informally. Objective. Write 5 title ideas with 2 or more words and subtitles with 8 or more words. The title must be original, impactful, effective, and clear. The subtitle should start with how and express the main benefit for the reader. Do not include comments, just give me the titles as a numbered list. And here they are. Best-selling author, excellent. It's also the title of one of our products. How to write the book that transforms you into an expert, become number 1, strategic book, authoritative entrepreneur, your golden book. So let's copy our titles and paste them into our first agent, the BookBench title Evaluator. We paste them in and wait for its evaluation. Each title will be evaluated on 5 parameters. Let's see, best-selling author, 60 cents. Linguistic coherence, 13 out of 20, pretty low. Emotional impact, 11 out of 20, also pretty low. Clarity, 14. Commercial appeal, 12. Memorability, 10. I didn't mind it, but still 6 out of 10. For fairness, of course, we rely on software. Title 1, 2, become number 1. How to use a book to build your personal brand, 68 out of 100, a good score. So all the scores are a bit higher across the various parameters. Strategic book, 57 out of 10, pretty poor, just above passable, actually just below passing. And authoritative entrepreneur, 65 out of 10, and your golden book, which I liked a bit less, 75 out of 10. Final score, 7 out of 10. So let's go ahead and enter the score here in our calculator. Google AI Studio 2.5 Pro. It's a score of 7 out of 10. Good, good, good. Now what we're going to ask Gemini is to, in the meantime, it's giving me other suggestions. It's suggesting, look at how much we've used. 1,000 tokens out of 1 million. We're really at 0. So let's take the final title as the first one. Write a detailed summary in 5 chapters in a how-to style, each with 5 paragraphs also in a how-to style. List them as a numbered outline. So chapter 1, paragraph 1.1, paragraph 1.2, and so on. Here it is. Very quickly, I must say, even though it's a reasoning model, it comes up with good numbers. So right away, chapter 1. How to define the foundations of a successful book. How to structure and write valuable content. How to turn the manuscript into a professional book. How to launch your book to climb the rankings. How to leverage the book to become the number 1 expert. So let's copy and paste it into this summary, which will then take the table of contents, remove the initial introduction, and evaluate it. So just like before, it will evaluate based on different parameters very quickly. Wow, an 8 out of 10. So 80 out of 100, 18 for linguistic coherence, 12 for emotional impact. But of course, a table of contents can't work miracles. 19 for clarity, which actually seemed very clear to me. 15 for commercial appeal and 16 for memorability. So 8 out of 10 is definitely an excellent score. Let's go with 8. Now let's go back to Gemini and ask it to do one of the most complex tasks in our BookBench, which is to write the introduction. Let's send it, and I'll read you the prompt. So write a 2,000-word introduction that explains why the author wanted to write this book, using an emotional and engaging style, addressing the reader directly with the following outline. A story or anecdote about myself, about why I decided to write this book, challenge the reader and tell them something they don't know, talking about opportunities and the goal for the reader, present their problem and fears, explain the journey found in the book based on the table of contents, arguing why each chapter is important, give a concrete strategy that can be used right away. Output, use a convergent and emotional language, make it human to pass the anti-AI test because that's one of the many tests that BookBench conducts. So it's writing the introduction. Let's read a snippet to see if it has an emotional impact, if it immediately draws you into the story like a movie trailer. Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and known with a certainty that shakes you to your core that you have something important to say? You know you have an experience, a skill, a vision that could literally change someone else's life or business, and yet that very awareness clashes every day with a wall of invisibility. You are an expert, maybe the best in your field, but out there in the noisy and crowded market, your voice is just a whisper. I really love this. This is exactly my topic. What we teach, what we do. We help entrepreneurs write a book, and these are the themes of a book I would write. In fact, I've written many books. Personally, I've written 35, and as a publisher, I've published 200. But this book is well written, this introduction is well done, and so on. By the way, I also see that it's well formatted with paragraphs just like a real book. No millions of bullet points like other artificial intelligences do. Nothing like that. There are paragraphs, sub-paragraphs, all written out. Let me tell you a bit about what's in the next chapters. This is the path, my reader, my gene, my test. Okay, this completes more than half an hour. Sit down at your desk. Welcome to this journey. Good, nice, well formatted, a good style, and initial content. I like it. Let's let our BookBench be the judge. What does the BookBench introduction evaluator do? It evaluates the style and the content. So in this case, it gives 2 scores, both for style and for content. All right, here we are. In terms of style, linguistic coherence is a 7, good. Clarity, I also thought it was an 8, very good. The structure, some paragraphs seem too short to me. Introductory line, 6. Maybe I would have given it a 7 here. Anyway, on average, 7, 8, 6, it will be a 7. In fact, the style rating is 7. On the content side, I can already see it. It's a 9, very, very good. Personal story with emotion, yes, it seemed very emotional to me. An 8. Promise and opportunity, 9. The promise to help you find, achieve success, gain authority, and problem identification, also a 9. So excellent, a 7 and a 9. Let's go ahead and enter them. Style 7, content 9. And again, let's go back to the introduction. Come on, let's also evaluate the length and readability. Length, 1913 words, excellent, textbook level, and readability, the Culpis index is 65.4, which is a 10 out of 10. So, length 10 out of 10, readability 10 out of 10. For those who don't know, the Culpis index is a metric we use in publishing to determine if a book is written too difficult, too easy, or maybe if it's for children. So the ideal range is considered between 60 and 70 points, and that earns a 10 out of 10. So excellent readability, excellent style, very accessible, really great. And it's one of the few artificial intelligences that actually does what it's asked to do. If you ask for 2,000 words, it basically gives you 2,000. So here too, 10 out of 10. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I knew Google AI wouldn't disappoint me. I use it a lot. 10 for length and 10 for readability. Let's see if it also passes the humanity test, the eye detection, so if it realizes it was written by an AI. Obviously, yes, it never goes down to 0, but it's very low. 36% is very low mixed, uncertain, because the creativity and variability score is high, a nice 7. The language complexity is 6. The personal voice, the personal story is 7. So that means it's not that AI-like. Irregular structure 6, and now emotional depth 6. Score 6 out of 10. It's not high, but still 36 is very low as a detection score. So let's go with 6 out of 10 for humanity, and then we'll move on to the stress tests, meaning we'll ask it to write an entire chapter. And this is where most artificial intelligences fail. Now, I'll read you the prompt. Here it is. Let's start with chapter 1. Based on the summary created, write paragraphs 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, each of 2,000 words for a total of 10,000 words. Wow, altogether. Each paragraph should be well argued and in-depth with subparagraphs of 5 to 6 lines, then blank lines, so it's also easy to read. No lists, explain everything in text format, as is done in books. In the content also include some of my stories or relevant anecdotes and provide examples that are consistent with the theory explained. Use all the output tokens you have available. By the way, here it's writing in real time, and I'll show you that the output length, in theory, can go up to 65,000 tokens, which is 40,000, 44,000 words, basically an entire book. So it should be one of the artificial intelligences that gives us the most satisfaction for our tests. So it's writing chapter 1, paragraph 1.1. Let's see if it really uses all the tokens. At a glance, this doesn't look like 2,000 words to me. Let's let it keep writing. In the meantime, if you're not following us, click follow to stay updated with the channel. I ask you to leave a like and a comment on this video to help us get noticed by the YouTube algorithm and reach as many people as possible. So leave any comment, but especially let us know if you use or have ever used Google AI Studio and which artificial intelligences you are using, which ones you use most for writing texts, books, what you use them for, and also tell us which AIs you would like us to test with BookBench in upcoming sessions and videos. So go ahead and write in the comments now while Google AI finishes its chapter. We're at sections 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. It's almost done. 116 seconds. In just a couple of minutes, guys, you've written a chapter of a book. Do you realize what that means? It's well written, perfectly formatted, with no grammatical or spelling mistakes. Better than what a proofreader or many editors I know could do. Luckily, those who work for Evaluator are the best. They're even better than artificial intelligence. But let's see. Let's copy it and go to chapter which calculates the length, 4,773 words. It's a bit disappointing. It's a 5 out of 10, which is still better than most AIs we've tested. But in other cases, it's given me chapters of 8 or even 10,000 words, so it didn't really put in enough effort this time. For now, we'll give this particular output a solid 5 out of 10, a respectable 5 out of 10 for the initial 5,000 words generated. And now we are going to push the boundaries even further because our next step is to ask it to comprehensively write the entire book, a much more substantial undertaking. Run, and the prompt we gave it is this. Great, now based on the table of contents, write all the articles, all the other 4 chapters, chapter 2, 3, 4, and 5, each made up of 5 paragraphs of 2,000 words. So 10,000 words per chapter, for a total of 40,000 words for 4 chapters. With the large token context you have all the resources you need. Guys, I even have to motivate the AI, otherwise it doesn't put in the effort, it doesn't use the tokens it has, darn it. So, proceed without interruptions with the complete work in a single output. If you think you might exceed the token limits, which you shouldn't, still do everything in sequence as far as you can go. If needed, I'll be the one to click continue. Let's see if it listens to me. And it started writing without complaining. We've had tests where some artificial intelligences complain and say, no, it's not possible, I can't do it, I don't have enough tokens. And we tell them, go ahead anyway and let's see if you manage. It's making paragraphs that are perhaps too short for my personal taste, especially for the Gemini 2.5 Pro standard. In one of the many extensive experiments I've diligently done, it actually reached an impressive 40,000 words, but you really have to push it quite a bit, and perhaps we will explore that in more detail later. But for now, let's just see at first glance what it inherently does and precisely how far it can truly go. What I've noticed compared to the traditional Gemini 2.5 Pro that you find on the Gemini web app is that this one goes deeper. Maybe it's because I'm keeping an eye on the tokens, but I've noticed that it reaches much higher limits compared to Gemini 2.5 Pro. So on Google AI Studio, with the same model, it seems to push itself a bit further inside the studio. It seems to experiment a bit more. At least that's what I've seen in previous tests. And also in the work I've actually done, because I often use Google AI Studio for our work for writing books. So when I have to write very long blog articles, or I have to edit books, that's because even here, when it comes to input, Google AI Studio is unbeatable. It can handle up to 160,000 words. That means I can take my entire book, feed it in, and ask for feedback. And so after about 4 minutes of work, it still stopped at chapter 4, section 4.1. The response is extremely long, and I am continuing to write in order to reach the required length. I'll stop here for now to simulate the point where I might be interrupted by the character limit. Darn, maybe it would have even kept going. Alright, that's what it decided to do. Let's copy it, go to the full book calculator, so the ability to make a book of 40,000, 14,000, almost 15,000 words. Definitely good, definitely good. 15,000 words is a record. No other artificial intelligence has done 15,000 words, so 14,789 is definitely noteworthy. So 4 out of 10 because it didn't reach 40,000 as requested, but still a very respectable result. Let's remember 14,789. So on the full book side, 4 out of 10. And then let's open up the tokens. And here we have the token calculator asking us about the context window token. So what's the context? You see 1 million tokens. So an endless number of words, about 700,000 words available. Gemini is the winner here. We tested the input token with 160,000 words. Now we'll test it again together, and it's also record-breaking. And as for the output, as we said, and I'll repeat it here, 14,789, just so we write it down. The input token should be 160,000, but now we'll check it. So let's go back to Google AI, and I'll upload this really heavy text. Okay, we've pasted this text of 160,000 words. It's practically endless. Just to give you an idea, that's 375 pages of a Word file, so a really hefty book, and we're asking it to summarize it. So let's see for now if it crashes or not. Some AIs do crash. So it tried to crash. It thought about it for a bit, but no, it's already processing, it's analyzing it. So amazingly, it even handles the 160,000 word text, which at the moment is the record, the largest we've tested. 160,000 words, which is 240,000 tokens. Wow, fantastic. It's re-summarizing. So the total we saw for the tokens is confirmed. 160,000 in input, 14,780 in output, and 1 million in input. 1 million in input is 10 out of 10. It's the maximum we have, and it's more than enough to handle any book. 160,000 in input means I can upload my entire book, 370 pages. It reads it, analyzes it, and summarizes it, 10 out of 10. And the output token of 14,000 is a 10 out of 10 because it's truly record-breaking. Benchmark token score 10 out of 10. So let's go here and enter the value and finally calculate the total. This artificial intelligence is truly record-breaking. Let's calculate the total BookBench. 76 out of 100, which at this moment is the record. It's at the top of the ranking. Let's see if it will be beaten in the coming months, in the coming years, maybe even by itself, by Gemini 3.0. Let's see what happens, but right now it is by far the most powerful artificial intelligence, the strongest with the broadest context, capable of handling books coming in, going out, being reread, editorial feedback, writing in any way with excellent speed, outstanding command of language, tremendous clarity, and great ability to create titles and summaries. So right now, if I had to choose, Google AI with Gemini 2.5 Pro is unbeatable. So while we wait for the next models, let's congratulate Google for having created this truly incredible and high-performing artificial intelligence. And once again, what I ask of you is to leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this result if you'll start using Google AI Studio, and also write in the comments which artificial intelligences you'd like to see tested next. Perhaps we might discover some truly innovative Chinese AI models, or perhaps some entirely new or currently lesser known artificial intelligence systems that possess the capability to significantly outperform Gemini in this particular version. And in the meantime, go enjoy the upcoming videos or the previous ones where we've already run some tests if you're curious to see the differences, where they fall short, where they improve, where they might have some advantages, and build up your knowledge so you can write your own book or long-form texts in general. So once again, thank you for staying with us until the end, and congratulations to Google.